Good morning, and thank you for joining us today at the Bow Valley College Center for Entertainment Arts. My name is Mickey Amory, and I have the honor and the privilege of representing Calgary Cross as the MLA. I will also be the MC for today's event. It is always a pleasure to visit the Bow Valley College and to highlight some of the amazing opportunities this innovative institution has to offer. Thank you all for being here this morning. I would like to begin our event by inviting the Minister for Advanced Education, Demetrios Nicolaides, to the podium to make an exciting announcement about supporting Albertans to attend post-secondary programs here and across Alberta. Minister Nicolaides.
Wow, well, fantastic. Mickey, thank you so much for the kind introduction. And Dr. Mwaba, thank you for hosting us at Bow Valley College, and more specifically, this incredible space, the Center for Entertainment Arts. It's just fantastic space. And also want to thank our HR student who will be speaking a little bit later on as well. Drew, thank you for attending and participating with all of us here this morning. You know, over the past few weeks, I've had the privilege of visiting and attending many of our post-secondary institutions across Alberta, and I have to say it's really great to see students, staff, faculty, all buzzing around campus again and getting back to normal. And as well, as I've been traveling the province, everywhere that I visit, and I think more broadly, everywhere that we look, we can see that Alberta's recovery plan is working. And we can see strong signs of economic growth and activity. In fact, our economy is expected to return to levels we haven't seen since 2014. And as according to many analysts, we are leading the country in economic growth and will continue to lead the country in economic growth over the next year. And so it is indeed very exciting to see our province beginning to bounce back. And this, however, this rapid growth and this rapid expansion of economic activity also presents some challenges. One of those is a shortage of skilled labor. And indeed, as I travel the province, if I'm talking to professionals in veterinary medicine or in aviation or in film, television, or creative arts, the question of a shortage of skilled labor seems to be front of mind. And we've taken some steps to help address that. In fact, some very significant and historic steps. Last month, I was very honored to announce $171 million in funding over 3 years to create 10,000 additional spaces in our post-secondary institutions in high-demand programs like healthcare, aviation, film, television, engineering, tech, and more. And as I said, it's truly exciting. It represents the largest targeted enrollment expansion in Alberta history. And in order to meet the growing labor market needs, we need to continue to support our post-secondary institutions as they educate and train students for jobs in Alberta. Even as our economy takes off, affordability is always of great concern to Albertans and Canadians alike. Our students here in Alberta are no different. And with the rising cost of living, the dream of attending post-secondary is fleeting for some Albertans. Albertans, though, deserve access to the funding they need to be able to access post-secondary education. Because simply put, all Albertans deserve to have access to higher education, no matter their background. To this end, in 2021-22, we allocated $731 million to help over 98,000 Albertans attend post-secondary. And we provided over $54 million in grants to help low and middle income students. As well, in 2020, we introduced the Alberta Student Grant to help more low-income Albertans pursue post-secondary education. Again, affordability must not be a barrier to Albertans accessing post-secondary education. Now is the time. We need more people to pursue post-secondary education and to join our skilled workforce. And that is why we are committed to ensuring our post-secondary system remains accessible to all Albertans, regardless of their financial need and circumstance, and we remain dedicated to aiding low-income Albertans. And that is why I am very excited to announce today that the Government of Alberta will be investing $15 million over 3 years to create the new Beginnings Bursary. This new bursary will be in the form of a non-repayable support for low-income students to help them enroll in high-demand programs. We are indeed opening new doors and creating a level playing field where Albertans have equal access to education and opportunity. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about how this bursary will work. So, first and foremost, these funds will begin supporting students enrolling in the upcoming 2022-23 academic year. As well, each year for the next 3 years, the new Beginnings Bursary will provide 1,000 low-income students attending high-demand programs with a non-repayable bursary of $5,000 each to help cover the costs of education and other living expenses. As well, students won't have to worry about directly applying to the bursary, as the recipients will be automatically selected from our student loan and student aid system, matching their eligibility criteria. Secondly, eligibility for the new bursary will be based on applicants' family size and income. So, for example, a single person with no dependents would need to demonstrate an income of $33,000 annually or less to qualify, but a family of 4 can demonstrate a household income of $66,000 or less in order to qualify. The bursary is available for students, as I mentioned, in identified high-demand programs where there is strong labor market need, such as energy, technology, aerospace, aviation, finance, and more. In order to determine which programs the bursary is available in, we have considered labor market data, industry need, in-province retention rates, and student demand. Third and lastly, the bursary will not only give low-income students the opportunity to attend post-secondary education, but upon completion of their program, there will be tremendous demand for their skills as they enter the workforce. This means that Albertans receiving the bursary are very likely to be employed within 6 months of completing their degree. The training they receive will set them up for successful careers in key sectors of our economy. And so in closing, I want to reiterate that removing barriers to attending post-secondary education and creating opportunities will help Albertans find good-paying jobs to support their families and build stronger communities right here in our province. And so I encourage you all to find out more details about the new Beginnings Bursary and other scholarships and financial aid instruments that are available through the Government of Alberta by visiting alberta.ca. And in closing, again, a warm thank you and congratulations to Dr. Mwaba, all faculty and staff here at Bow Valley College for all the work that you do in helping to prepare your students for success in the future. Congratulations, and thank you again for hosting us.
Well, thank you very much, Minister Nicolaides, for that wonderful announcement, and I'm certainly uplifting to see that affordability does not need to be a factor in pursuing future educational goals. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity now to invite our next speaker to the podium. This individual is known to all of us. I would like to invite Dr. Mesheck Mwaba, President and CEO of Bow Valley College, to say a few words. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Emily, and I want to thank Minister for choosing Bow Valley College to be the place where you make this exciting announcement. I want to start by just acknowledging nations with whom our college is fortunate to build relationships and learn from. That is the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Ganai, Piikani, and Amiskapi, Piikani nations, as well as the Ehahena Koda, Wesley, Chiniki, and Biaspo First Nations, the Sutina First Nation, and Métis Region 3. I also want to acknowledge the Bow Valley College staff who are here with me. Thank you very much for finding time to come here today to listen to this exciting announcement. And I like the name, New Beginnings Bursary. Let me talk a little bit about our students, because this is about students. Now, at Bow Valley College, if you walk in the hallways, what you're going to see is really hustle and bustle. Students hurrying to class, reviewing notes ahead of that all-important exam, or sometimes trying to find ways of negotiating with the professors so that they can get grades and look for the path of least resistance to graduation. We also see other scenes. Students socializing with friends, working on group projects, informal learnings that happen everywhere. But what we don't see at first glance is everyone's access, everyone's story of how they got here and what they are struggling with. Think of the single mom with heavy hires who, in addition to her studies, is basically working 2 jobs to make ends meet. Has she found a quiet spot on campus so that they can study? Think about the group of friends walking by, talking about how they can find a way of getting a second roommate so that they can actually pay the rent. How do they continue with their studies? Prioritizing education brings many rewards, but it can also impose many burdens, affecting disproportionately greater than others. These are students who are low income, they've got heavy challenges in their lives. They're thinking about rent, they're thinking about child care, and all that acts as a burden, which is why today's announcement is very exciting to Bow Valley College, but I think I would argue that it's all the post-secondary institutions. This is about Alberta, not just Bow Valley College. Bursaries and awards reach students at post-secondary institutions, including Bow Valley College, really at critical times when the alternative is to abandon hopes and actually just give up. So not only will funding like this, the new bursary, the New Beginnings Bursary, but it's really going to support those students academically. It's going to help offset costs like technology, child care, day-to-day financial pressures. So simply put, financial assistance like this helps ensure that no student is left behind because of financial barriers and makes it abundantly clear that all learning counts for us at Bow Valley College. And really, Alberta needs individuals to get the skills so that we can get our economy firing. Not only does financial award help students complete their studies at Bow Valley College, but it reminds them that they matter, that their journey matters, that they have a college community, that they've got the community at large, that they've got the government that's behind and supporting them. So together, we are dedicated to bring down barriers to learning wherever they stand. As an access college, Bow Valley College really is about reducing and eliminating those barriers. In fact, it's one of our statements in our mission to remove barriers. So this announcement is extremely rewarding to Bow Valley College. So, Minister, thank you very much for choosing Bow Valley College. Thank you very much to you and your colleagues in government for thinking about the low-income students and removing those barriers. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mwaba, for those words. I would now like to welcome Dhruv Jani. Director of External Affairs for the Students Association of Bow Valley College, to the podium to share a few words with all of us. Drew, come on over.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dhruv Jani. I'm the Director of External Affairs at Student Association of Bow Valley College. And first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Minister for this amazing announcement. So SCBBC is delighted to learn for these new bursaries for low-income learners, and we have all been there juggling with our assignments, social lives, professional aspirations, and our part-time jobs, laying the foundation of our future in our college classrooms. And some of the best days that we live is in our college, but those days comes with certain student barriers, barriers that are hard to shake. For instance, I would say student costs, textbooks, then student loans, and many more. Thankfully, we are having these opportunities such as scholarships and bursaries to relieve some of the stress faced by students everywhere. And we are lucky to be supported by Student Association, who are donating $65,000 every year, and to our campus community, and Bow Valley College, who is supporting us with more than 300 awards per year. So thank you so much, Bow Valley College. However, even with all this presence of this program, I would say the students who is working nights to get by, students who is raising a family, and who is single mother, a student who just arrived in Canada with almost no opportunity or like limited opportunity to work, they still exist. And the funding announced today will undoubtedly go a long way in supporting students who need financial aid the most. On the behalf of Student Association of Bow Valley College, we look forward to the positive impact that this will make on students facing financial needs and financial insecurities moving forward. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, thank you so much, Minister, and thank you so much for your colleagues and government as well. We appreciate that a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew, for sharing your important perspective, and congratulations on your accomplishments so far. I wish you all the success in your future endeavors. This investment here today, ladies and gentlemen, will make a real difference in the lives of low-income students struggling to cover tuition and living costs while attending quality post-secondary programs. Thank you, Minister Nicolaides, once again for creating this important support, and also to Dr. Mwaba and Drew for your presentations here this morning. Folks, this concludes the speaking portion of today's announcement. I would like to now invite the Minister's Press Secretary to coordinate the media Q&A. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, MLA Amory. I don't believe we'll start off in the room here. I know we have a few media here today. If you would like to ask a question, if you can make your way to the mic at the back. Yeah.
I'm going to have to readjust the camera when you step up. If I can just ask you a question. My name is Dave Yilson. I'm with CBC News. Certainly you've been talking about affordability, granted, and you go into restaurants on the street, people in terms of what students, regardless of those that are eligible for this latest bursary and those that aren't, I certainly get a sense in terms of the challenges that they're facing. Food, gas, all of us are facing this. Tuition comes up a lot, concerns about this. I think earlier this spring we saw some in terms of exceptional tuition increases for programs and so on. Broadly speaking, for those that do qualify for this and those that don't, what are you identifying as some key priorities in terms of trying to address those concerns? I'm sure that for the 1,000 students, I guess 3,000 over 3 years, I think they're going to be happy to receive this kind of assistance. But more broadly speaking, I mean, as the minister, what are you seeing here as some of the more onerous challenges that they're facing, the average student out there? And also, what are your priorities, and what are you planning to do about that in terms of addressing those concerns?
Sure. No worries. You have a lot on your plate. Juggling many things. So, it's a very good question. And there's no question that, as you mentioned, students, just like every Albertan and more broadly, I think, Canadians, are facing challenges as it relates to cost of living. As you said, we're seeing gas prices increase. We're seeing cost of food increase. And that's being felt by students as well. So, indeed, today's announcement is one step. Creating this new bursary will help additional students receive significant financial, non-repayable financial assistance. But apart from that, we are taking other measures. So we, in Budget 2022, there's additional funding for many of our existing scholarships. Most of them, as an example, are demand-driven. Like, take, for example, the Rutherford Scholarship. It's a demand-driven program. And if you qualify as a student, if you meet those grade averages over your high school period, you're eligible for that scholarship as an example. So there's a lot of pressure on those scholarships as more and more students are coming into the system. So we are making more dollars available to those existing scholarships as well. We've also recently made some changes to student loans to allow more students to be able to access loans and change some of the loan parameters. I was hearing from students that maybe part-time students weren't able to access some of the student loan options, or that the loan limit amounts were insufficient. And so we've responded to some of that feedback that we've heard from students, and we've made some adjustments to those. So I guess the short answer is we are taking a very close look at what is available through student aid and what can we do to strengthen student aid to help students receive the financial support that they need in order to complete their studies. So, and there's more. We're still looking at, again, the suite of student aid offerings to see if there's more that we can do there. So these are just some steps in that direction.
Revenues for the province starting to increase, some hope in terms of that. What is the takeaway for them today in terms of what would you say to them today in terms of what potentially the provincial government hopes to do to be able to address those kinds of very, very real and very poignant concerns that the students have?
Yeah, well, I would say that the government of Alberta is prepared to do what we're doing now, which is to provide more support to students, to provide more not just in repayable student financial assistance, but also in non-repayable financial assistance. We are prepared to do that as we're doing here today. As well, we continue to maintain a cap on tuition levels that continues to remain in place as it stands today. Tuition in Alberta is below the national average. We remain very, very competitive. The other thing that I would say is a strong and robust economy creates opportunities and helps ensure that students have opportunities when they complete whatever program they're in right here at home, so that they can enter the workforce, achieve success. And as you know, over the past 3 years, Alberta's government has been working incredibly hard to help establish that foundation to create a strong economic opportunity. I think we're really starting to see the signs of that now. And so I would say to students more broadly that the future is incredibly bright. There's more that we need to, in terms of economic opportunity and job opportunity. The future is incredibly bright. There's more that we need to do from a financial assistance standpoint, and we're happy to do that as we're doing today.
Thank you. We'll now go to the phones. Operator, could you put through the first caller?
Dean Bennett, Canadian Press.
Thanks. Good morning, Minister. I'm wondering, and it certainly sounds like a laudable program, but I'm trying to understand why you would make a distinction between, this program is worth the funding and this program is not. I heard off the top, if it's demand-driven, if it's more of a financial technical thing, you'll fund it, but if it's more of an arts thing, it sounds like you won't. Why the distinction? And sir, can I ask you also to answer, because in the light of you have to say that these programs are very valuable. All arts programs are valuable. And in fact, I would look at your CV, sir. I mean, you've got an MA in International Relations, a BA, an MA in Conflict Studies, and a PhD. And as you say, this stuff all helped, help build peace in Cyprus. So I would say, an arts degree certainly does have merit, wouldn't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Each degree, each academic opportunity gives students something a little bit different. I think just reflecting on my own experience, and when I talk to others in faculty in fields like political science, I know one of the things that it really helped me to strengthen were communication, critical thinking skills, and I know and other skills, and I know oftentimes a lot of faculty and students in those programs espouse those virtues as key benefits of their program, and those are incredibly important skills for anyone to foster and develop. In looking at the development of this new bursary, and to your question of why limit to the programs that we have, well, as I mentioned, there are very specific areas where we're seeing some significant challenges, where we need more graduates, quite simply put. We need more students to choose a variety of different fields, as I've mentioned earlier, because we're simply not producing enough graduates in those areas, and that's going to have impact in key areas of our economy. If we're not producing enough folks in film and television, if we're not producing enough folks in tech, in aviation, in agriculture, and energy, it's going to create challenges in our economy. And it's interesting, I recently had an opportunity to sit down with the Minister of Higher Education with the government of Iceland. And it was really interesting, thousands of kilometers apart, we were talking about the same challenges, and they're experiencing some of the same challenges about how to encourage students to participate in the trades or in other areas of the economy and the workforce where there aren't as many people participating as their economy needs. So I think it's not just an Alberta problem, but it seems to be much more of a global problem. So that's the intent here, is to help incentivize and encourage students to look at some of these high demand programs.
And did you have a follow-up there, Dean?
Yeah. Sorry, Minister. Doesn't that seem a bit narrow, though? I mean, so basically, you look at your arts path, and look how much you succeeded with that. And now you're up there announcing a program that won't help low-income kids follow the same path that you did. Don't you think maybe you should rethink this and reopen this to all students in all programs?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, the priority and the focus is to help encourage and students to look at these areas where, again, we need to see more students graduate, and not just from the standpoint of that sector of the economy needs to see more graduates, but it's also areas, as we mentioned, where we know they'll have very strong success and have strong prospects of being employed as quickly as 6 months after graduation. But of course, that doesn't limit students. Students have availability to choose any program and participate in any field of studies. And there are, as I mentioned earlier, a variety of different financial instruments to help and support them in those journeys, whether it's in political science, international relations, arts, or in energy or film and television. So there are financial supports and instruments available for all Albertans for any program that they so choose.
Thank you. And it doesn't appear that we have any more questions today, so that'll wrap up the media Q&A part of this announcement. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.